What's up, my Beardos and Weirdos? Let's dive right into another r/EntitledParents. A stupid, crazy, popular subreddit that is making for ridiculously funny videos that I have a hard time going through without cringing and laughing and... let's get right into it. One topic at a time. Your house burning down is traumatizing my kids. So this story happened years ago, but recently there was a bit of an update and I've just needed to get it off my chest. When I was 17, our house burned down. We were actually still in it when the fire started. On a side note, if you have one of those huge old TVs, get rid of it. But thankfully, a passerby woke us before the fire had spread too far for us to escape. So here we were, outside of our home watching firefighters try to save it, when I noticed my next door neighbor filming the whole thing. Now back then, I still lived at home, and we lived in a small village where everyone knew their neighbors, so I knew who this was. And I decided to confront him. I walked over to him and asked why he thought it was okay to film this. First, he gave me some bullshiz about how this was a one-time occurrence, but then he seriously started telling me how traumatizing this whole thing was to his children. In detail. He told me how they'd probably never feel safe again living next to our house. How terrible it was that they'd had to wake up to see a house burning down. All the while, he seemed to be completely oblivious as to who he was telling his sad, sad story to. Here I was, watching our family home burn down, my mother in hysterics, my little sister crying, and this man feels the need to tell me how this fire was really bad for his kids. I wish I could say I let him have it, but I was too taken aback to respond. And just to clarify, we lived in a neighborhood where all of the houses had huge patches of land, so while he was our next door neighbor, our houses were far apart. And there was no risk of the fire jumping to his house. That worry I would have understood at least. So, the update. A few months ago, my mom and I were talking about the fire, and she mentioned a part of the story that I'd never heard. After the fire, we had to move into temporary housing while our house was being restored. Now, as I said before, we lived in a village where everyone knew each other. So we were still regularly in our old neighborhood, visiting our neighbors. It turns out this guy had planned on suing my family for inflicting emotional damage. Yes, for having our house burned down next to him. He was going to sue us while we had lost everything, for the emotional harm it caused his family. Now, the backlash from the other neighbors against this idea was apparently enough to get him to reconsider, but I really wish I'd heard about his plan back then, because I would have loved to have confronted him again. I'm really sorry to hear about your house. It's not something anyone should go through, and having a neighbor like that is terrible. I'm glad that you feel confident enough after hearing that from your mother that you would have liked to have gone back and talked to him about it. And if you still live in that old village, or you still know everyone in that old village, go back and talk to him. You know, see if he still has that video clip. Bring it up and totally thrash him over it. Not physically, of course. Just talk him down. We've all had some terrible neighbors before, but, you know, I can't remember any neighbor ever filming a house burning down and then blaming the occupants for scaring their kids. That is a sure odd one. Pink is for girls. Last year I gave haircuts, just like my dad before his accident, and a little fun fact, I am a boy and pink is my favorite color, so F that parent. Story is below. Today at the barber shop wasn't very busy. We had only gave cuts to 4 people. The other barber went home after nobody came for an hour, which was irresponsible, but I can't blame him. Then the 5th person walks in. It's a woman with her son. The son looked about 14 or 15, and the mother looked like the 40 range. They walk in, and I give the boy a haircut. At the end of the cut, the boy asked for a little bit of pink dye in the front of his hair. The mom wasn't watching. She was on her phone. So I did what he asked. Then when we were finished, I told the woman the total, and she looks at her son and says,
"What the hell? Why is pink in my son's hair? Mom, what the fuse is your problem? You aren't getting paid for ruining my son's hair."
"I'm sorry, ma'am, but..."
"Mom, I asked for it."
Entitled mom looks at the boy with evil eyes. I knew something was going to happen, but I have to say I really appreciate the boy sticking up for me, because I expected he'd say nothing, and normally I don't know what to say in this situation, so brownie points to him.
"Why? Pink is for girls, not boys!"
Entitled mom is shouting now. Basically is what I expected. I mean, what else could she do? Sue him for having pink in his hair? Lol.
"You know what? I'm sick of your shiz, Mom. You literally don't respect anything I do. If I hang out with the disabled at school, you will force me to hang around with people who pick on them And then when my girlfriend bought me a shirt with a pink heart on it, you throw it in the garbage. And you are so fierce and lazy. You make me and Dad do everything around the house. Fierce you, Mom.
The boy stormed out of the shop and left the mother to chase him. I didn't earn my money, but I wasn't really pissed. I was shocked and confused, but the boy returned a few minutes later. He came back and yeeted $20 in the shop. He didn't even step inside the door and threw it in. I think his crazy mom was chasing him. I was still in shock and felt bad for the kid. I never saw them again, and I don't work at that barbershop no more. Interesting story. I'm not sure if you can recall that entire conversation to that level of detail, but Also, hey, parents, if your kids like pink, maybe look up the history on pink. You know, different colors have been associated with different genders over time, and pink used to be for boys and blue used to be for girls, so, hey, neat. Everyone likes what they like, and just, you should be okay with that. You shouldn't berate your child for liking what they like, just accept them as they are and be happy for them. Support them and be proud. And don't be crazy, my gosh. Pay your barbers. Entitled mother tries to take my first class seat, steal my phone and laptop, and also make me trip. I was on a flight traveling to Japan. So far the day had been progressing well, there were no delays, and I was well rested to endure a 14-hour trip. It was a non-stop flight, so this was going to be a long ride, which was made even longer because of the awful mom on the plane. EM equals entitled mother, K equals kid of entitled mom. Upon boarding, I went over to my seat in first class. Mind you, I don't make that much money as I am only in college, so this seat better be worth it. As I walk over, I'm about to sit down until I see a mother and her kid burst out of economy and shove me back, taking my 2 seats. EM throws her kid down, who seems visibly embarrassed. EM doesn't even have her bags, which I can see through the curtains is placed near empty seats. I say, "Excuse me, this is my seat." EM gives me a glance and goes back to staring straight forward. I ask for her to please give me my seat, and she just ignores me. At this point, I call over a flight attendant and explain to her the situation. The attendant says,
"Ma'am, please give him his seat."
EM looks at her and explains that it is her seat and I am simply trying to take it. I then show the flight attendant the ticket, which shows the corresponding seat. EM gives me a dirty look when she returns to her seat. The flight then goes along with me explaining to my seat neighbor what happened, and she just laughs it off. Soon the airplane dims its lights. Many people take this as a signal that they are encouraging you to sleep. Not EM. After maybe 10 minutes of sleeping, I hear a shriek, and turn to see EM digging through my bag. EM then looks up and runs with my phone. I see her run to the bathroom with it. I already figure she might try to damage it with water or put it in the toilet. I run for her, and she turns around to try to trip me using her leg. See, EM did trip me, but I'm 6'3". I may be lean, but that doesn't mean I don't weigh much. So I basically crushed EM. When EM yelled for help, people pushed me off of her. EM then goes on a sob story on how she was trying to get her phone back, but I stopped her. People ask if this is true, and I say she can't unlock it. She fails and is ushered back to her seat, now being informed police will be waiting for her upon landing. Even worse, I see her son playing with my laptop as I pass the aisle to go to the bathroom, as the other one was full. I snatch it, but EM then says that her son deserves the laptop after all I've put her through. I then just walk off done with her, and EM tries to drag me by my ear to bring me back my own laptop to her son. I turn around and ask her, "What the fuse? You've stolen my phone and laptop, tried to steal my seat, and tripped me, and you think you deserve anything?" EM then says her son wanted to go to Japan to go to some theme park, and that I ruined the entire trip. EM then goes ballistic, yelling and pulling seat fabric. People eventually calm her down. Her son is sitting there, embarrassed as to how her mother is. When the plane landed, I gave him some candy, and all he said was thank you, and walked off with his mom, which was being escorted by security. I'd like to believe this one is fake, I'd like to believe this one didn't happen, but we all know. There's a pretty good chance that there are some entitled parents out there that would try stuff like this. As soon as it goes dark, they're going to sneak into whoever they feel is more privileged than them, whoever they feel doesn't deserve the items or possessions that they've worked for, and would try to steal them. Yeah, I'm sorry this happened to you. I'm glad that you were able to stand up for yourself and that people around the plane eventually took your side. I know that initially someone tackling someone else isn't going to look like, the person doing the tackling is the innocent party, but at least you had the evidence of that person, the other person not being able to unlock your phone. That's lucky. Hope you enjoyed Japan. Alright, my Beardos and Weirdos, that was r/EntitledParents. Those were a couple weird ones. I don't understand the airplane seat one, and I just, anyways, a lot of fun to record another one of these. Super happy to do another one, so if you guys want to keep seeing these, just leave me a comment below saying, yeah, definitely, or leave me a comment below as to what you'd rather see instead of this. Well, we'll see you in the next video, where we take it one topic at a time. Roll that outro!